gotta give me a minute, okay? Because I got some bagels and I got a bagel and I have a bake. One second. Okay, I have a bagel in the oven that I have to go get. Okay, I gotta get out before I gotta go get it. Okay, we gonna get into this video. Okay, I was on a train and this sweet, sweet, kind soul, whatever man asked me if I could pray for him. One second. Okay, here go my bagels. I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. I'm trying to see how I'm gonna do my phone. Um, the only thing I don't want. Okay, wait. Okay, I guess that's good. I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. If not, do understand and get your day is going to get better once. Ooh, chill, honey. One second, please. Oh, God. Come on. Ooh, chill. Okay, so you guys know, if maybe you don't, but one of the ways that you could connect with your inner child is by eating foods that you used to love eating when you was a kid, right? I do believe that we need to spend time with our inner child, okay? Just doing some of the things that we used to enjoy when we was kids, okay? And that's really where creativity comes from, is connecting to your inner child, okay? Because your inner child, the imagination, okay, using its imagination and just creating things. And one of the things when I was a kid, I had went to a Catholic school, right? And I told this story before, but maybe somebody on here knew, okay? And it was this lovely lady who worked in a lunchroom. And I would go and I always would get Frosted Flakes. Okay, you know the little cereals, that they would have after school and stuff like that. And I would get Frosted Flakes. I would always get Frosted Flakes, and I would get toast. And she would ask you like, what you want? You want butter and jelly, or you want peanut butter and jelly? And I didn't care for peanut butter when I was a kid. It's funny now because, honey, I like me some peanut butter. Okay, but I really don't buy peanut butter like that. Now I buy a big bag of nuts like these. Okay, but when it comes to peanut butter, I really don't. I don't buy it like that, but I like it, especially in smoothies and stuff. So this is one of the ways I connect with my inner child. Okay, I honor my inner child by eating toast, by eating toast with butter and jelly. Okay, all right. So I was on a train, on my way coming back home. Actually, probably about 15 minutes ago. And first of all, I was sitting on the train, and where I was sitting at, it was a kid. I want to say probably like 17 or 18. And he could have been younger than that. And he was first he was sitting somewhere in a different spot. First he was sitting in a different spot, but I had made eye contact with him, okay, with this kid, like when he was coming on the train. And so then he was sitting in a different spot. Then he decided to sit right behind me. Now I don't know who it was, but somebody was on there vaping, okay, on the light rail. And I don't vape and I don't smoke and stuff, so I don't be wanting to smell that stuff. So I had got up and I moved like to a seat that was closer up, to like getting off the train. And it was this lovely guy. And I had my book in my hand, which is this book right here, Prosperity Bible. I bring this book mainly everywhere and anywhere. Okay. And maybe because he's seen that it said Bible on there, he asked me if I could pray for him. Now, I told you I don't pray for other people, and I know that may sound like what, right? Like, hey, you don't pray for other people, because the truth of the matter is that you have my prayer. First of all, I meditate, okay, and that's my form of prayer. And so I was telling him that. He was like, but did you hear what I said? So I said, yeah, I heard you. I said, but I meditate. Because what happened was his very close friend had passed away a few days ago. And he was hurt and he was sad. And he asked me, if I could pray for him. And I said, I don't pray. My form of prayer is meditation and stuff like that. And he said, but did you hear me? I said, yeah, I heard you. Yeah, I heard you. So then I started just having a conversation with him and stuff like that. And I was like, your friend is there with you. Your friend is with you in spirit. Just having a conversation, because, sometimes we think, well, if this person prayed for me, then God or whatever you believe in, right, is going to hear that person prayer over your prayer. And that's not true. Okay. And I told him, I said, your friend is still with you. And he said, yeah, but it hurts so much. And I said, yeah, but you got memories, right? Like, you got memories of you and your friend being together, okay? Having fun together. I'm quite sure y'all had a lot of fun, right? And, he was lightening up a little bit. And so after I had a conversation with him, he went back like to his phone and stuff like that. And I really didn't want him to feel bad, because, I said I didn't pray. I don't pray, whatever. I didn't want him to feel bad. I didn't want him to feel, a certain type of way, like, damn, I should never add to that or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, I can't control the way someone else feel, right? And as I was getting off the train, I asked him, I said, oh, what's your name? And he was like, oh, my name is, Michael and stuff. And I said, oh, nice to meet you, Michael. And then I, shook his hand and told him my name was Dina and stuff like that. And, just wanted to reassure him that it was going to get better, And, yeah, that's all I know. Like, one of the things that will really do it for you, if you constantly are in grief, right? Well, I think a lot of times we think I don't know why it's like this. I think sometimes it's good when your nose itch. When your nose itch. You know what? I think a lot of times when a loved one transition, many cases it may take us longer to get over them, because we feel like by us just moving on with our lives and having fun, that somehow it's like we forgot about them. And that's ego. That's so far from the truth. Because your loved one definitely wouldn't want you to be suffering. You know? Your loved one wouldn't want you to give up on life. We here for a short period of time, you know. And in that short period of time, it is for us to enjoy the people that are dear and that's dear to us, you know. But by you staying filled with grief because your loved one transitioned, it's not going to help the situation, you know. And I really believe that's why we tend to stay there, because we like, well, if I was to, move on with my life and start having fun, and my best friend or whomever passed away, then it's like, I gave up on that person. Or I just, and then some people, some people will try to fork you, like, how could you just go on with your life when such and such just passed away, But you're not doing anything by staying stagnated, or you're not doing anything by giving up on yourself. If this person done transition, you're not, that's not going to bring the person back. And one of the things I told Michael, I said, your friend is here in spirit. And he said, yeah, I know. But I'm just never going to see him again. And that's not true. That's not entirely true. Because if you had pictures of him, you would see him again. I know what he meant, like in person. And this is, I know I said this already, but, and then as I was getting off the train, I started questioning my darn self and saying, well, Dina, you could have prayed for him. You could have said some words, and that most likely the damn monkey in the mind. You could have prayed for him, but my prayer isn't no more effective than your prayer. And that's what I'm telling myself. You get what I'm saying? As I'm walking off the train, my prayer is no more effective, because I don't want nobody to ever think that, like that you have to continuously search outside yourself for whatever it is in this here matrix, in this here Maya, this here illusion. This is so simple, butter and jelly, but yet so good. And I think that's what get us caught up. Thinking that somebody else is closer to source, or thinking that somebody else could do something for us that we can't tend to do for ourselves. And you have the ability to do for yourself. you have the ability to do for yourself. All that comes from programming. You know? Because I remember when I used to pray. And it's so funny because people think because like if I say I don't pray, people think that, well, she don't believe in she an atheist. I remember, when I remember I was in this business school, right? For 12 weeks. And the professor, he was Catholic. He had his own company. Really, really cool guy. I think his name was Jim. Jim was really, really cool. I liked the Jim. He was so cool. I remember he said, if we go out, because it was the class, right? It was this, and let me tell you something. During this class, when I first signed up for it, at first I wasn't even going to go. Like afterwards, after I started going, because I was like, oh gosh, it's inconvenient. And it was only on Thursdays. And Jim was the professor of this business school for 12 weeks. And Jim was very, very cool. I remember, and I think he worked with children or something. And I remember telling him my story and stuff like that because we had to meet with him one-on-one. And I remember when I was about to meet with him, I was like kind of nervous. But I was like, damn, now all the focus is going to be on me meeting with him, right? And so I was telling him my story and stuff like that. And I remember one day while I was telling my story, he said, would you be able to talk to kids, like kids that's in the system and stuff like that? Because I told him, that I was in a foster home and a group home growing up. And he said, would you be able to talk to kids and stuff like that? And I said, yeah, I could talk to kids and stuff. So he said, all right. And I remember we had this this graduation, like we graduated from the program, the 12-week program, and got some college credits. And I remember, and this program is pretty much geared towards entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurs, and then they have the Angel, what is it called? Like the Angel Fund, like different corporations or different people invest into these startup companies and stuff like that. I know they had PSNG. It was a few of them that was on the list. And I remember we had this, not during the graduation, but during one of our sessions, probably about 12 to 13 adults in the setting. And, whether we have our own business or have an idea for a business and stuff like that, in that 12 weeks, it was wrapped around marketing, exposure, putting yourself out there, marketing, going to different restaurants or different places and seeing how, they do things and stuff like that, and seeing what could some of the restaurants do better and stuff. Or some of the stores that was close by to the school. And I remember we had this conversation, and and I told them I'm spiritual, which I am. I'm spiritual. And I like to say all of us are pretty much spiritual, okay? But I'm spiritual, and meaning I don't believe that God is somewhere out there. Okay, I don't believe that God is on a cloud, waiting, or I also don't believe that you gotta die to go to heaven. I know heaven is right here. Okay, And so I don't believe in some of those things that we had grew up believing in, because what I had seen was those things don't work for me. Now, perhaps, they may work for somebody else, okay? But what I come to realize and understand is that everything is within me. Everything. Everything. All the things that I have been looking for, it has always been within me. And during the class, Jim, he was like, "Oh well, it's okay if you don't believe in God, or I have no." He said, "I have a friend that's an atheist. I'm not an atheist, okay? I'm not an atheist. But even if you was an atheist, you always do what works for you. Okay, we always have to do what works for us. Like once upon a time, you guys know I was a part of different religions. Okay, and some people would say stuff about the religion I was a part of. Okay, but I'm grateful for that experience that I've been through with the religion. Honey, I'm hungry. I'm grateful for that experience I've been through with the religion, because if not, I would have never started soul searching. Listen to what I'm saying. I would have never started going within and seeing, all this time I've been, going to Pastor Mike. Okay, and Pastor Mike been saying that my life gonna get better, but God damn it sure didn't seem like it wasn't gonna get better. And when it started getting better? We want to know when I start getting better. Your life is not going to get better because you cry, bitch, moan, complain. That's not what's going to change the trajectory of your life. Your life gonna get better once you start seeing that and understanding I am the one who's actually creating this. Now, if you think that it's somebody else that's outside you that's creating all the things that occur in your life, then that's just gonna make you wait. It's gonna make you wait. You giving up all your power because you feel like somebody is coming to save you. You feeling like and bring me to my next point, and I'm gonna do a reel on this. I was on a train, and as I was on the train, I was reading this, okay, and I done read this so many times, okay, not the whole book, honey. The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. And one of the things he said, you must get rid of that last vestige of the old idea that there is a deity who will it is that you should be poor. So this is to all the people, and I keep on saying this because, some people really believe in a heart of heart. They really believe that if they are struggling, if they are poor, if they are living in poverty, that somehow they are closer to God. And honey, when I say programming, that is full programming. Because if you in poverty, okay, one, you're not even acting out in your full capacity, your full potential, okay? And then on top of that, it's like whoever told you that in order for you to be closer to God, and I know they have the thing in the Bible that says, a rich man can't get through, I think, the eye of the needle or something, something like that. But then come to find out that's even wrong. That's not even what, so many people, Bible people, what they've been quoting is not even what we think it meant. Okay. And so some people say, well, I can't, I got to stay this way. I got to stay. And by you staying in poverty, who does that help? No. By you staying in poverty, by you living below your means, who does that help? Because goddamn it sure isn't helping you. And it sure don't help your children. And so let me finish what it says. And I love this book because this book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wallace, I remember when I first started reading this book, it has sometimes you like, well, I want more from life. I am going to be wealthy, okay? And some people have a problem with that, but I ain't got time to get into why you have a problem with someone else wanting to be wealthy. If you don't want to be wealthy, if you want to stay the way you have been living for so many years, do what works for you. That's your prerogative, okay? But don't get upset at other people because they want to better their lives because you don't want to do so. Okay, that's you. All right, that is you. And if you feel like you could get into heaven by you living in poverty, by you living below your means, then stay there. Stay there. Okay? But listen to what this says. And a lot of things that we tend to say is or do what somebody else said. We regurgitate it. And you can look at your life and you can say, damn, I know, I've been conditioned to believe this. But damn, look, why my life going this way? Because it doesn't work. It does not work. That's why. What you have been programmed to believe, it just don't work. And that's why some people walking around depressed. That's why some people walking around, not understanding that they the creators of their reality. That's why some people walk around and keep saying, well, when is my life going to change? Waiting for something outside them to come and change their lives. I'm here to tell you, nothing is coming to save you. Nothing. So get the door out your mind. Okay? If you got this idea somewhere in your mind implanted, something, God gonna come down and save me and rescue me. If you believe it, you keep believing it and do what works for you. But I'm here to tell you all the years, that I would cry and plead and beg and pray, okay? And be on my knees praying, okay? Nothing changed. And I don't care how good of a person you are, okay? And I'm not saying not to be a good person. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is I don't care how good of a person you are. If you have thoughts and these thoughts that are not in the best interest of you, these thoughts where so things continuously show up that you say you don't want to show up, these thoughts where as though you want to be liked, you want to be a people pleaser, okay? Your life is going to be filled with misery because you're supposed to be loving yourself first before anything and anyone. Okay? Brings me to my next point before I get into the book. I remember when I, had my oldest son. I'll never forget this. I remember my uncle, and he meant well. But I remember my uncle said to me, he looked at me. I just came from the hospital from having my oldest son. My oldest son is 20 right now. And I remember my uncle looked at me and he said, it's no more about you. It's all about that baby. And as women, right? We hear these things, right? It's not about you. It's about their baby. Then you get married. It's not no more about you. It's about your husband. You got to make sure he good. But when do you ever check and make sure you good? And that is wrong. That philosophy is so wrong. And that's why so many women who have children are burnt out because they feel, at times we feel like it has to be about my child. It has to be, no, it's no more about me. Look at what my uncle said. He said, it's no more about you, it's about that baby right there. And you grow up. I mean, you get older and you used to, oh no, it's not about me. It's about, I gotta make sure they good. I come last. No, my love, you come first. You come first. Because let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I don't know why the phone not even charging. The truth of the matter is, how could you make sure someone else is good if you're not good? It's no way. No way. How could you give someone else love if you don't have love to give? Meaning, if you don't love yourself, how could you possibly give somebody else some love? Everything starts within. Everything. And let me just read this, okay? Wait, hold on, child, because I got these wings in the oven that I got from Target. One second. Family, 1 second. Let me just. One second. I got these wings in the oven. And I want to put some butter and stuff on it. 1 second. I'm coming. Give me 1 minute. Okay. All right. Hey Phil, peace here, baby, peace here, peace here, peace here. Honey, I had to put some garlic and stuff on these wings. All right, so let me read this, okay, to you guys real quick. Okay. All right, and this is Increasing Life, okay? The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wallace. Now, I done read some of this book before, okay? And I think it is very imperative if you was to go get you a copy of this book, okay? Either go get you a copy or you could go on YouTube and YouTube, they have it where as though they is an audio where as though the person read the book, okay? The Science of Getting Rich. Highly recommend. Okay, I done read this part of Prosperity Bible so many times, okay? They have different authors in this book. Napoleon Hill, Florence Shen, Who else? Wallace Wallers, many different authors. Okay, so is the reason why? So let me just go back a little bit. The reason why we tend to have certain belief systems is all due to our upbringing, right? And if you grew up in a certain household where money was, scarce or whatever it is like that, you may have this belief that, oh, you got to work hard for money. You got to, do all these different things. Money don't grow on trees. You may even feel like you got to neglect yourself. Certain things you may desire. You may feel like, well, I can't get there. You will never be able to get there. Or in some cases, you may even settle. You may even settle for the life of the life that you really don't, why, yeah, and I'm not saying you don't want your life, but the life that you have been living for so long, you may settle for that life because you may feel like you becoming wealthy is like out of reach. And that's not true. And in order for you to change that, you got to start reprogramming your mind. Now, if you don't reprogram your mind, a belief system is just thoughts that you continuously keep on having. Okay. If you don't reprogram your mind, nothing changes. Your life will forever be the same. And I think, and I know that you are too magnificent. You are too powerful. You have so much potential, unlimited potential, infinite potential within you to keep living a mediocre life, to keep living a life of a life that is not your choosing. Okay, because you did not choose that life. Someone else chose that life for you. Okay, when you was growing up and those belief systems was being passed down to you, or perhaps because I do believe your spirit chose to come here. Okay, you made a contract for you to come here. Okay, but let me just read to you what it says. You must get rid of the last vestige of the old idea that there is a deity whose will it is that you should be poor, or whose purpose may be served by keeping you in poverty. The intelligent substance which is awe, and which lives in awe, and lives in you is consciously living substance. Being a consciously living substance, it must have the nature and inherent desire of every living intelligence for increase of life. So every time that, if you run already, you want to run quicker, right? That's why we always have the desire for, wanting more. And not from an ego perspective, like, oh well, when I get that I'm gonna be happy or whatever it is, and just neglecting or just forgetting about the things that we currently have. That's where gratitude comes in. But when it spirit is always looking for ways to express itself. Okay. And when you do something, you always want to do it better. Right. That's just human nature. Now, some people, I can, no, I don't want to do it. Okay, well, hey, that's you. But majority, everybody, human nature is for us to, we always want to do, if we do something, we always want to know how we can do it better. All right. So then it goes on and it says and lives in awe, and lives in you is a consciously living substance. Being a consciously living substance, it must have the nature and inherent desire of every living intelligence for increase of life. Every living thing must continuously seek for the enlargement of its life, because life in the mere act of living must increase itself. A seed dropped into the ground springs into activity. And so when the seed drops into the ground, it springs into activity, meaning, the roots and everything start growing. And then before you know it, it's a tree, right? So it demonstrates, nature is always demonstrating how our lives should be, okay? Nature, let me say it again. Nature is always demonstrating how our lives should be and the laws in nature that we should follow. Okay. So then it goes on and says, um, a seed dropped into the ground. I know I read this part, but let me just reiterate because sometimes I forget where I left off at. A seed dropped into the ground springs into activity, and the act of living produces 100 more seeds. Life, by living, multiplies itself. It is forever becoming more. It must do so if it continues to be at all. Intelligence is under this same necessity for continuous increase. Every thought we think makes it necessary for us to think another thought. Consciousness is continuously expanding. Every fact we learn leads us to the learning of another fact. Knowledge is continuously increasing. Every talent we cultivate brings to the mind the desire to cultivate another talent. We are subject to the urge of life, seeking expression, whichever drives us on to know more, to do more, and to be more. In order to know more, do more, and be more, we must have more. Okay, so by you saying, "Oh well, I'm just gonna stay where I'm at." Okay, the more money you have, the more good you can do. Okay. And if the other day I got caught up watching, oh gosh, I got caught up with the whole celebrity thing. I was on there for a few minutes on YouTube, and then next minute I see all this stuff. Okay. And then I had this idea that came to my mind real quick, very quick. This idea that came to my mind, in programming. You see what money will do to you. You see these people, they have all that money, but look what they did. And instantly, I start feeling a certain way, but then I had to remind myself, it's not the money. Because before people receive the money or get the money, they was already like that. Money is just going to amplify who you are. Okay. If you was a certain type of individual already,